Okay, we'll do the fast version. So just for the purpose of the
Yeah.
recording, I'm Kelly Keith, Director of Study Abroad in the Office of Study Abroad here at Webster University. Go ahead, Seth.
I'm Seth Huntington. I'm a study abroad advisor here in the Office of Study Abroad in St. Louis.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you. And if our Webster Leiden colleagues would like to go.
All right. Hi, I'm Sheetal Shah. I'm the academic director here at the Webster Leiden campus. A fun fact, I'm calling in from a 1,000-year-old village, which is outside of Amsterdam. So all our colleagues right now are not in Leiden. As Kelly explained, this is end of the day for us, very close to dinner time. And we are all calling in from our homes. And where I live is 1,000 years old, so older than Amsterdam. Over to you, Christine.
Oh, hello. Hi. Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon. I'm Christine Benninger, the Student Affairs Coordinator here at Leiden. And so I will see you all when you hopefully come in summer. And I want to just, welcome everyone here tonight or afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Paul Rakowski, and I'm the head of the Department of Behavioral and Social Sciences here at Webster Leiden, and I am coming to you from Amsterdam.
Great. Thanks, everybody. So we are going to start with the presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll go through that with you all. Wonderful. Can everybody see that?
Perfect.
Okay, fantastic. So again, welcome. We're going to talk about Webster's Leiden campus and opportunities for summer 2024. We're really excited to share this information with you all. So just wanted to start out with a picture of our beautiful Leiden campus. Our Leiden campus actually just celebrated its 40th anniversary last year. You can see we've got the really beautiful architecture in Leiden, and most of the buildings in Leiden are on canals. So just to kind of transport you to the Netherlands and to our Leiden campus, just wanted to kick things off with showing you our building there. And I'm going to turn it over to Christine.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's really wonderful to see those pictures because they actually really are photos of Leiden and the building. So you could, that one on with the canal in front of our building, that's actually right there. And we have the boats running by, and also, windmills like within, you can see the windows from some of our windows on campus. So we're a small building, but a lot happens at our location. A few tips here we and tops mentioned here are, of course, the English language. I have to say that when I arrived in Leiden myself, or the Netherlands, it was very, very easy to acclimate with the language. The Dutch pride themselves in speaking English. They learn it at a very young age. They, they're travelers by heart. They built their economy on trade, so they know a lot of languages, and English is one of them. So you can really settle in. You don't really need to speak the language, but knowing a few words goes a long way. Saying good morning, goedemorgen, or thank you, learning that, dankjewel or dank u wel. You'll find that they love it, but they'll quickly switch over to English for your sake. They actually like to practice their English. So of course, there's a zillion bikes, and you just have to Google once about the Netherlands and their bicycles to see that almost everyone has a bicycle, if not 2 or 3 in the house. And I like to always say that it's not only a bike culture, but it's a public transportation culture, because we travel to and fro from the grocery store or to work with our bikes, with the bus, with the trains. We even have 2 metros, undergrounds in Amsterdam and Rotterdam. And and they all work pretty good. I mean, you do have some problems, but I've been in countries where it's much worse, and the public transportation is really spot on. The Dutch really lead a lot, an active lifestyle. They love to be on their bikes, and even walking. Walking from one side of Leiden to the next is really quick, 15 minutes tops. And we'll talk a little bit about our location, but it's really smack right in the middle of everything. Whether you wanted to just go run out to the grocery store, or you wanted to go to a pub or to a park to sit out, it's all surround, like the campus is Leiden. So you could just walk outside and really enjoy the city and call it your own. Netherlands being green, we're really, we have, a lot of recycling locations open for our residents. We also promote, the whole bring your own bag to grocery stores, or I should say any store, actually. The Dutch are very big leaders on wind energy. You have one of the largest wind farms in Europe, as well as we have the largest floating solar energy farm in park rather in Europe. So we're really keen on keeping it green. You'll see that even our student government collects the soda bottles, plastic, and cans just so they can return and get the money for their clubs. So they're really into it. Here you see about location I mentioned before, but also just getting to the airport or any other train station is very easy. You can travel from Leiden to get to Amsterdam, to The Hague, all within less than a half hour. Plus, the country really is like 2 hours wide completely from one end to the other. So you can get it to Germany, go through the channel to London. You'll find great train prices for travel, and also some economical airfares. And we'll go through that a little bit later on when we do the real Leiden orientation for students that are coming. Next slide. Could I do it?
Oh, Christine, you're on mute.
Thanks. I did that by accident. Sorry.
Okay.
I mentioned about Leiden itself being this great place to visit. We're one of the cities that has the most museums. So they boast 13, but there's actually a few more that we can call museums that you can visit, and they're opening all the time. We have a lot of exhibits. We have our own Rijksmuseum. It's of antiquities, but it's a wonderful museum on Dutch culture. There's also a Japanese museum in Leiden, and in fact, an American Pilgrim Museum, which is really interesting. It's small, but it has a lot of history of, I don't know if people are aware that the Pilgrims, before they went on their ships and settled in sailed to the, America, if you will, they lived in Leiden for some time. So the Peterskerk, which is where we have our graduation, some of our presidents, ancestors, and the pilgrims worshiped there. And some of the ancestors were even buried in the church, which maybe some years ago, they had actually removed them and they reburied them. But it's a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful building. And we have our graduation ceremony every year there. So other than that, we have the Hortus Botanical Gardens, and the students in beautiful weather, they sit out and take in the sun there. And that's a beautiful, beautiful gardens, as well as lots of other museums. We have a lot of attractions for students and a lot of international student clubs that are easily, in fact, one of our students that's in the grad program, she's the president of a international student network, ESN, the Erasmus Student Network here in Leiden. So she's always bringing us like advertisements for various events that are happening with students from Leiden University, from other university students that live in Leiden and maybe study in Amsterdam or one of the other neighboring towns. But there's a lot going on, from clubs to cooking nights to international different language evenings, film nights, that type of thing. It's quite active. We're going to talk a little bit about our approaches with the field of business and psychology when we talk about a little bit of our programs that we're offering for summer. So stay tuned for that. And I'm not going to try. There you go. Thanks so much. Yeah. you're going to have really great weather in summer. I have to say that Leiden, nowadays there's no extreme. So we really are about like a spring and fall type of weather all year round. We do have, the winter colder weather, but honestly, there's nothing that keeps you not from going outside. Very few days will be extreme heat or extreme cold. So it's really nice and mild. You'll need a jacket. A rain jacket is great, but temperatures are, a really nice steady throughout our summer. And you do have sunny days, so you'll be able to cycle to the beach, which isn't too far. It's easily gotten to by bus or even cycling. So a lot of students get together. Our student government held a beach day in September, I believe. And yeah, that was great weather too. So here it mentions a few things where I already mentioned about the Hortus Botanical Gardens. And of course, every city in the Netherlands has a outdoor market for food and vegetables. They sell flowers there. Leiden boasts we have a large market on Saturday, as well as a smaller one on Wednesday. So we're fortunate to have 2 markets per week. You can see the canal pictures here, and we absolutely have canal tours in Leiden, but they have them in Amsterdam, Delft. It's really something you never get tired of going on. Family members come and visit, and I'm always happy to take them on a canal boat ride. We will probably actually arrange something for you too in the summer months. We have some summer activities like the Dragon Boat Race. So alumni sponsors a Dragon Boat Race and barbecue, which is a lot of fun. And that happens right outside of our campus, like by our parking lot in the river right in front of our building. So you see these Dragon Boat races, everyone competing and jumping in the canal. It's like actually quite funny. It's really a great day. The next slide. I have one more. All right. So really living in Leiden, you see a picture here of our Living and Learning Center. This is actually the courtyard inside of it. So the students can hang out here. There's of course, chairs, picnic tables. They like to sit on the grass, or a few other pictures of that. And students live here. So these, even though this is the courtyard, you can see that there's several floors, and some of the all of the rooms have really large windows that you're either looking out into the city behind us, or you're looking out into the canal where you see this other picture. Like, it literally is picturesque, and it's like a postcard. The students enjoy living at the Living and Learning Center. It's really close by, so there's no excuse for being late for class. And everything is taken care of for the study abroad students. There's laundry on every floor. You have internet. You have it comes with your all the like your bed and desk and furniture. Your small kitchenette is stocked with plates and silverware and whatnot, and as well as you have new bedding. So we really take care of you there. And like I said, it's so close to the school and pretty close to everything. So you can just within less than 10-minute walk to the Leiden train station to catch a train to Amsterdam. Happy to answer any questions a little later about any of those topics or the Living and Learning Center more. This is just to show you that we do a lot on the Leiden campus. So those that are with the Webster Groves and part of your leadership program, the Webster Leads, we honor some of that. So on campus, we have events and other activities that you can take part in and then get credit back at your home campus. We will celebrate 1 Billion Rising here on February 14th. As well as a lot of different other events and organizations like the U.S. Embassy in The Hague. And yeah, we're very involved with a lot of organizations within Webster and out. So thank you.
Great, thanks, Christine. Okay, wonderful. So I was just going to talk for a minute about the structure of our programs this summer. So they are, we have 2 different summer sessions available. So you'll see the dates listed here on this slide. So we have summer 1, which is June 3rd through June 28th, and then summer 2, which is July 1st through the 26th. There also is the option, if you would like to do both programs, you can stay for the entire 8 weeks. So those dates are listed there as well. But the excuse me, the summer session model is set up so each session would be for 4 weeks, and then you would earn 4 credits. And they each have a program theme to them. So either in the area of business, that's what we're offering during summer 1, or psychology during summer 2. So we're going to go into some more details about the academics. And then the structure, again, within each session, you would be doing a 3-credit core course, and then a 1-credit course that's set up to be more kind of hands-on experiential learning. So we'll go into detail about that. There are going to be a number of outside of the classroom activities, what we would call co-curriculars, again, that connect to the theme of the program. And again, like I said before, if you want to stay for one session or you want to go for both, that's totally fine. There also is the option. Some of our other international campuses are using the same dates and the same structure. So if you wanted to go to Vienna and take a psychology class and then come to Leiden for summer 2, that also is a possibility. You could kind of stack or combine locations if you would like to. Great. Great, so I'm going to pass it over to Sheetal, who's going to talk with you more about the summer 1 program.
Thank you, Kelly.
Sure.
And I actually have a question for the group, and feel free to just unmute yourself if you have an answer. And this goes for our colleagues as well, if they get this answer correct. How much cheese do you think an average Dutch person consumes in a year? Take a wild guess. How much cheese? Any idea?
Like 2 wheels.
2 wheels. All right. And those, what weight would you allocate to each cheese wheel, Heidi? That's Heidi, right, who responded?
Yeah, that was me. I don't know, maybe like a pound or 2.
A pound or 2. All right. And 2 pounds would be approximately a kg. So 2 kgs, right?
I
Or
think
should
so.
I say 1 kg? All right. Okay. Let's say 1 or 2 kgs from Heidi. Anybody else? How much cheese does an average Dutch person consume?
I'm going to go 10 kgs.
10 kgs. All right, Tyler. Was that Tyler?
Yes.
All right, Tyler, 10 kgs. If we play a game of, cold, warm, hot, warm, Tyler. Okay, you're getting close. Anybody else? That's a cue. Last try.
I don't want to, I just looked up because I wanted to see how many pounds were in a wheel and I couldn't even believe how many pounds were in a wheel. So I don't know the answer, which is awful, but I will after this session. But 72 pounds, they said approximately, is in one of those giant wheels of cheese. So that's crazy.
Exactly. Yes,
Wow.
that's one of those big cheese wheels right now, which a lot of
Yeah.
Italian restaurants do for their spaghetti with cheese. So an average Dutch consumes 19 kgs of cheese a year. 19 kgs is a lot of cheese, but that is the amount of cheese that an average Dutch person consumes. Cheese is a big industry in the Netherlands. Bulbs, another fun fact for you, that we are the largest exporter of flowers in the world. So if you look at the size of the Netherlands, and I'll put it in context to what Christine said, that it's 2 hours, right? If you want to do the length and breadth of this country, maximum 2.5 hours. But if you look at the export footprint of the Netherlands in the context of business, in the context of entrepreneurship, the Dutch dare to dream. And again, if you look at this historically, they have been traders. So we're the largest producer of flowers. Now, an average, and if you look at the population of the Netherlands, which is 18 million people, calculate that. That's the amount of cheese that's only consumed approximately within the Netherlands. But of course, it's exported as well. The Dutch Gouda cheese, or Gouda, however you pronounce it, is famous all over the world. And if you see Schiphol Airport, the 2 things which you will see is cheese and bulbs. of course, because there are restrictions on how much beer can be carried out of the country. When it comes to beer, and I don't know how many beer drinkers on this, and I won't ask that question, but look at the history of Heineken, the Dutch brand, the Dutch beer. If you look at so many of the sponsorships globally that you see for sports, Heineken is a global brand. So in that sense, beer, bulbs, and cheese, we call it the BBC course, is really intentionally created in such a way to study Dutch entrepreneurship, business opportunities, but also a small country like the Netherlands has a big global footprint with regards to exports. Part of this course, and this is a very interesting course, we have a faculty from St. Louis who said, I wish I was there for this course in the summer so that he could take it. It includes learning how to brew your beer as well, but really understanding what does beer making entail and why is beer production and beer export so popular in the Netherlands. The bulbs aspect of this, interestingly, you could actually go to a flower auction in the Netherlands, and it's on the to-do list of many tourists because you have to go really early in the morning around 7 or 7:30, but you see flowers that come in from different parts of the world, of course Dutch grown as well, and they are exported everywhere. Now, I am originally from India, and I've lived now in 3 different countries, 1/3 of my life outside the country of my origin. And the one little ritual which I really appreciate about the Dutch is that they buy themselves flowers every Friday. So over the weekend, a lot of Dutch families, a lot of Dutch individuals will buy themselves flowers. And you will see this in the price of the flowers as well. Our students have flowers in their student dorms. Sometimes you don't relate that, right? Why would a student on a student budget buy flowers? But flowers are so easily available. And of course, cheese. During orientation, we usually joke about Dutch food, but there are things about Dutch food that people miss, and one of them is, of course, cheese. So we go into the entrepreneurial side of it, the business aspect of it, and really understand the export perspective of this industry, which will focus on beer, bulbs, and cheese. Kelly, if we can move to the next slide, please. These are the course offerings that we have. So the course code and the course description in front of you. Now, the 1 credit component here, and as an educator, as an instructor, I always say that there is so much more learning that happens outside of the classroom. And therefore, if you are taking the time, if you are putting in the effort to go and study abroad, which is great, I think I'm very grateful for Webster to have programs like that, and our students can make use of it, but also the WINS network. So in that sense, it is a great opportunity for you. And if you are planning this, then I am glad that we have the 1 credit component in both the courses, in business and in psychology, where you actually step out of the classroom and you understand how this industry works. In this, we will, of course, focus on the impact of COVID as well. And again, to share it, in times of COVID, because we are the largest exporter of flowers in the world, flowers were actually given away for free. And if you Google the tulip gardens in the Netherlands, those tulips were destroyed intentionally because for the 2 years of COVID, nobody would go and see those tulip gardens. So in that sense, export was really impacted, but the industries have recovered. And like all of you, I'm looking forward to how the students are going to engage with these courses as well, and what they are going to learn from. Again, while the focus is beer, bulbs, and cheese, we also have bicycles. That's covered in another course, not for the summer course, but also a fun fact that the Netherlands is below sea level. And in that sense, the way the Dutch interact with their water, but also use the water for, when you look at beer and beer making, water plays a role as well. And these are all the different aspects that we learn from. So from a production point of view, but from an export point of view. Kelly, next slide, please. And with that, I'll hand over to Paul. Paul, You've been teaching this course now. It's one of the most popular courses on campus. And I'm so grateful that you're here today, this evening, also because you are an addictions counselor, a licensed addictions counselor. So over to you, Paul. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sheila, and for having me. Drug and chemical dependency is a course that offers students a great deal of insight into many different aspects of substances. It is oftentimes, we cover psychopharmacology, we cover the biopsychosocial aspect of it, or the diathesis stress model, which is the biological impact of substances, the social impact of substances, and the psychological impact of substances from an addiction standpoint. We are going to spend a lot of time looking at the physiological effects of different substances on our body and how we interact with others when we're consuming substances. Anybody have an idea or a guess on one of the most common drugs that humans consume? Anybody want to guess? It's something that is socially acceptable, and it is something that you will see quite often in many different areas. You know, in the Netherlands, you'll see it all over the place. Any guesses?
Alcohol?
That's a big one, and somebody said that is a big one. Yes, it's a socially accepted substance. Yes, but caffeine actually in the form of coffee. We consume, human beings globally consume a great deal of caffeine in the form of coffee. And one thing that you will enjoy while you are here in the Netherlands is there is no shortage of cafes. And the reason I say cafes is in the Netherlands, when you use the term coffee shop, that often indicates a different type of establishment, and that is actually where people actually go to purchase cannabis. They go and they can smoke pot. Interestingly enough, coffee shops, the reason that they get their name is that coffee shops in the companies or the businesses that sell cannabis or pot, they're not allowed to serve alcohol. So they can serve coffee and they can serve juice and they can serve different soda and things like that, but they are not allowed to serve alcohol. So that's how they got their name, you know, to be called coffee shops. So when you come to the Netherlands and you ask somebody where the nearest coffee shop is, they're going to have a different view of what that means than you might be used to in the States or in other countries. And so you always want to say, if you want to go actually get coffee, you want to go to a cafe. And if you know, the coffee shops do sell substances. We'll talk a lot about how cannabis is a part of the culture in the Netherlands, particularly in Amsterdam. The psychological and sociological impact of that from a standpoint of tourism. For example, in Amsterdam, the current mayor is trying to work on changing the way Amsterdam is viewed. There are two things that Amsterdam is known for. Anybody want to guess what those two things are known for?
Come on, give it a shot.
Yeah. When
Weed?
people, weed, yes, absolutely. And there's another one. Can everybody hear me? I'm getting a message that I'm not being heard.
I can
We
hear
can
you.
hear you.
Can you
I
hear
can
me?
Hear you?
Okay, so yeah, weed and prostitution, and particularly in Amsterdam because it's such a multicultural city and it is a hub for a lot of other cities in the Netherlands. People will come to Amsterdam from all over the world and they actually call it a drug holiday or a sex holiday, and there's a lot of overlap. And we will spend a lot of time as well. So that is another thing that we will cover. The Leiden is a great place to study about this topic because we are very close to The Hague and we are very close to Amsterdam, also Rotterdam. And some of the things that we will talk about and cover in the course is how drugs and alcohol and other substances impact us from, like I said, the social aspect of it. There's a lot of stigma surrounded with different substances, substance use. We'll talk about the club culture. We will spend time with, my plan is to have us, we're planning some guest speakers to speak about substance use from an addiction standpoint and a recovery standpoint. We will be hopefully visiting or having a legal or law enforcement join us. And we will also have other aspects from the social, the stigma attached to it. So I'm working on getting information from some of the areas that work with individuals who suffer from substance use disorders. So the next slide, I think, is the overview, right? So I'll let you read the actual course offering. We also in the lab, we are going to be doing, we'll probably travel to either The Hague or to Amsterdam to look at a different impact that we have. I currently am a volunteer and I volunteer with an organization called the Regenboog Group. And I work with individuals, advocate for individuals who are asylum seekers and refugees. And oftentimes young people come to this country from different cultures and they do not have an understanding of, well, they have very limited understanding of what substances are, what kind of impact they have. And because we are a drug tolerant country, it's often viewed as something that people can experiment with, and that can be a very dangerous combination where people are naive to what substances are and how easily they are obtained. So we will spend a lot of time talking about that and the impact that that has. And other than that, there are some different views. There is the medical model view of addiction. There are the moral views of addiction. We'll spend some time talking about that. Interestingly enough, there is some overlap between the religious aspects of different religions and how they view substance use. And we'll also spend a little time talking about the more advances or the advances in some of the right now it's a little bit I'm kind of on the fence. I'll explain in a little bit more in class about how different substances like hallucinogens and things like MDMA, ecstasy, how they are being used to treat mental disorders and also work with couples. And it is a great research. The concern about it always is how people interpret that research and the misguided information that is occurring online through social media. So those are some of the topics that we will be covering. And I think that, is there one more slide? No, there's no more slides. Okay. So and then of course I'm open for any questions that anybody has.
Great, thanks, Paul. I'm just going to go through a couple more slides and then I'll stop sharing the presentation and then we can maybe go into questions then if that works. So just a few additional things to be aware of. We wanted to let you know the cost of the program. So again, if you are a student from a Webster International Network of Schools institution, so non-Webster, these are you may want to, what was going to say? Oh yeah, you may want to check with your school just to see what they will charge you for tuition in the summer. But the Webster tuition rate is $500 per credit hour. The housing per session, so that's per 4-week session is $1,100. You get a little bit of a discount if you do 2 sessions. So, and then there is a study abroad fee that's $300 that primarily covers your international health insurance for the time that you are abroad. And then some of our programs in the summer have program fees. Leiden doesn't have any, so that is what covers like the co-curricular components of each program. So just wanted to mention that we don't have a program fee for that for this. So that is a little bit of a savings area. And then there are some scholarships too. So the WINS Award, the Webster World Traveler Award, those are to help to cover airfare costs. And then there are other study abroad scholarships. So if you're a Webster student, we do have some endowed study abroad scholarships that you're eligible to apply for. If you're not a Webster student, I recommend you check with your home institution to see if they have any funding available that you can apply for. And then there's also national study abroad scholarships as well. Or even some that are maybe more locally based through different organizations that you can check out. We have some listed on our study abroad website through Webster, which is just Webster, www.webster.edu/study abroad. The application deadline is February 28th. So if you do want to apply, the application is open. And you would just need to get in your application by the end of February. Again, if you're a student from another university besides Webster, make sure you check in with your study abroad advisor at your home university just to see what their process is and if they have an application they would like you to do first. That is a normal process. And then our application process, it's all online. And we do ask you for a few things, just kind of a copy of your passport. We ask you to fill out a brief questionnaire. We'll ask you a couple questions in the application about, what program you want to do, just to get that confirmed so you can choose the thematic area that you want to do. But our application shouldn't take too long to complete. But of course, our team here in St. Louis will help you along the way with that if you have any questions. Oh, and then we actually had a couple of Dutch trivia questions that we thought maybe would pique your interest into the culture. Christine, do you want to do these?
Sure, that's fine. So we've been asking throughout, which I think is really brilliant of the speakers, but here's some Dutch trivia. So true or false, half of the Netherlands is below sea level? Dun, dun,
True.
dun, 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 dun. That is true. And what is amazing, yeah, thank you for chatting in, and also those that answered. We are below sea level, and which is quite amazing if you think about how everything is built, and you will see the homes. They're actually a lot of them are on stilts that go deep into the sand, so that they can remain actually level, because the sand and the earth will shift. So the way houses, when you sometimes you'll see a landscape and you'll see the houses are a little crooked in that. That's because they're very, very old and they have settled in, and there's not much base below the houses. And another great thing about the sea level is, of course, we have the Delta Works, which is a wonderful place to visit out by the sea, and where the dikes are. And it's an amazing, amazing structure that really keeps the sea out of the Netherlands. And it will never break, knock on wood, but if anything would go wrong there, there's a good chunk of the Netherlands that would be underwater. And how about the bridges? All right, so if anybody knows anything about Amsterdam or Holland in general, we have a lot of water, canals, rivers, and Amsterdam has fewer bridges than Venice. Venice is also, you always see those photos of beautiful canals, everyone's swimming through, not swimming through, but sailing through. So do we think Amsterdam has more or less? Well, we actually have more than Venice, and Venice actually has quite a small number of bridges. And I was reading this up, and do you know that Pittsburgh in the States has actually more than even Amsterdam? So it's amazing that, and it always matters like what do you what constitute a bridge? But Amsterdam, I believe, has 700 and some bridges within it, and Venice is it's under 100. So that's kind of cool. And what is the capital of the Netherlands? Sort of like a trick question. Anyone want to try? Well, it is in fact Amsterdam, and you might think it's The Hague because, of course, our government sits in The Hague, and Rotterdam is very known for it's a huge international port there that we do most of our trading through Rotterdam, and but it is in fact Amsterdam. So I hope you walk away with a new interesting information about the Netherlands.
Great, thanks, Christine. Oops. Yeah, and then our last slide here is just a thank you to everybody for attending. And if you have any follow-up questions, please feel free. If you're a Webster student, you can in St. Louis, you can stop by our office in Speardrop. That's where the school communications is located. We're in room 207, or feel free to email us at worldview@webster.edu or give us a call, and we have our number here. So we're happy to answer any questions and help you throughout the process or as you make the decision too about whether or not you would like to attend the program this summer. So thanks. I'm going to stop sharing and stop recording. And then we can just see too, if